Welcome to Toy Polloi.
Hello and welcome to another video from Toy Polloi. It's a lovely sunny Sunday morning. It's the 24th of June 2018 and I'm at the Bath and West Showground here in Shepton Mallet because it is Toy Fair Day. So let's go on into the Toy Fair and see what sort of things we can find. Today I haven't really got a plan of what sort of bits I'm after. I have a few projects I'm working on, so I'm always looking for little bits, but really I just want to go and see what sort of toys are there and I'll grab any good things I can find. So let's go and take a look. So I'm now back in the car. I've had a good sort of look around. Initially when I went into the toy fair, it looked a bit disappointing because there weren't that many store holders. But after having a good look and a rummage around, I've actually picked up some really good items, things that I wasn't expecting to buy, and some big items as well, which I'll have to show you when I'm back at Toy Polloi. But the most amazing thing of all is I picked up one of my grails. A few years back I sold a toy and I regretted selling it. As soon as it had gone, I thought, why did I do that? Because it was a childhood toy of mine. But I found it again, so I've now got that back in my collection. So let's head on back to Toy Polloi and I'll show you what I found. So here I am back at Toy Polloi and we can take a look at the bits I got. Now, initially, as I say, when I first got to the toy fair, it looked a little bit disappointing, but with a good amount of rummaging, I did find some nice pieces. So first up, the first thing I found was actually this little police car. Now, this is Rosco's police car from the Dukes of Hazzard, and this is the wrist racer version. I've shown you these before on my videos. I picked this up for 20p, and it is in a pretty sorry state. It's very yellowed, but the reason I picked it up is because one of my wrist racers, the underside is broken and has lots of damage to it, so I'm thinking that I can sort of take the good parts of this one and mend the other one I have and just sort of leave the shell as it is. So for 20 pence you can't really go wrong. Next up, I went to a store and in a sort of rummage bin I found these two items. Now this is a nice Maximilian from the Disney's Black Hole. The chrome has gone missing from the arms, but the actual figure, apart from being dirty, is in very nice condition. And you don't often see black hole figures anymore. They're certainly much more sought after these days, and to find one at a toy fair is getting sort of harder and harder. I also quite like the fact that the chrome has gone from the arms of this Maximilian, and one arm is blue and one arm is black. It just shows the sort of different plastic that they used. And I also picked up another, this is the sort of ATST Commander, sorry, not ATST, this is an AT-AT Commander, and this is going to go into my Imperial Army. He has these same sort of rubs that you would expect on these figures, so his nose there, you can see it's got a bit of a paint rub, but that's easy enough to touch up. And he is number 181 of the figures in my army, so my army is slowly growing, and I paid a grand total of £5 for these two figures, which seemed a bargain, because Maximilian, certainly in any condition you'll pay far more for him, especially if you look on eBay. Then I also picked up this Super 7 version of Skeletor from Masters of the Universe. Now I picked this up from Floston Paradise, which is a well, they have a website and Instagram. I'll put links to those, and this was sold to me by Nick, who is someone I've actually been chatting to online via the guys from Geek Force. So I'd never met him, and I didn't even realise that he would be at the toy fair, so I said hello to him. I'll put links to his website and Instagram in the description for this video. Now the Super 7 figures, I've never been that impressed with them. The idea of making modern sort of vintage looking figures is quite a fun one. Not really sure why they're doing Skeletor and sort of He-Man figures, because obviously the vintage figures are great, and the figure of this one, it's not amazing. I think the sculpt's pretty sort of weak, but what I do like is the card, and that's really why I picked this up, because the Skeletor card there, the artwork is pretty nice, so I thought that was worth adding. These are £13, so a little bit more expensive than I sort of, I don't really buy modern stuff, so £13, not too bad, but the card sort of makes it worthwhile, and I think this is actually going to look quite nice on display, so that was the reason I picked that one up. Now I did manage to find a Grail toy of mine, which about 10 years ago I was having to clear out of my Transformers collection because we'd moved house and didn't have much space, and I stupidly sold my childhood version of Run Amok, the Transformer sort of Decepticon car, and I even had the backing card with it, and I sold the backing card as well, and ever since I did that I've regretted doing it, and today I found him. So this is pretty much the same as the one I had as a child, with the backing card. I paid £12 for it, and I bought this from Steve at Vintage 72. I'll put again a link to his Instagram and various pages in the description, so I want to say a big thank you to him, because this really is something I've been after for a long time. The condition of the car looks in pretty good shape. I've not really looked at it, but really it was the card I wanted, because this is what I just regret getting rid of. I don't know why I sold it, because it was a toy I'd loved as a child, and I still had the card. The only thing I have left from my version that I sold was I'd actually cut out the little robot point at the bottom there, so I still have the robot point from my card. But this is excellent, and this is going to go on display here just because it's such a sort of childhood memory of mine, and for £12 you can't go wrong. Now I did pick up a couple of very large items, so I'm going to rearrange the camera and I'll show you what those were. So here is the first of the big items, and it is a partially boxed vintage Star Wars Millennium Falcon. Now, the Falcon itself is not in bad condition. It's filthy, it's absolutely filthy, it's covered in dirt, but it does come with most parts. It's got the cockpit without the glass, but the inside parts of the cockpit are not broken. Also got the radar dish, and remarkably it also has the ramp without the broken tab on it, and it's been a long time since I've seen one of those. It's obviously missing a few pieces like the training ball and the ramp struts and the top gun. I think it's also missing the little hatch cover there, but really it's not too bad. And the box is pretty tatty, as you can see, but it's still something that could be sort of worked on and made to look pretty reasonable. And the nice thing about this is it is an Empire Polloi box, so this is a UK edition box. As you can see, it's had a lot of wear, bits of it have fallen off, but it's really not too bad. And this wasn't the only one I picked up, so let's look at the next one. From the same stall, I also picked up this vintage snowspeeder. As you can see, again, it's a Polloi box for the snowspeeder. Again, this is in a pretty tatty state, although slightly sort of better condition than the Falcon box, because all the flaps there. It's got a bit of damage to it, but I reckon with a little bit of work that could be made quite displayable. And the ship itself, again, is not in amazing condition. In fact, it's missing the whole back panel, as you can see there, and the cockpit is snapped, but it does have the cockpit, it does have the front guns, it's even got the little harpoon attachment block, so it's not really a sort of a bad thing to pick up. And as you've seen before from some of my other videos, I've been restoring the snowspeeder, so I actually have quite a few spare shells of this, and I can actually put together a pretty nice snowspeeder to go with this. And I paid a grand total of £45 for both boxed vehicles, so it's a pretty cheap price, I would have said, especially with the sort of current prices of Star Wars stuff. And I really think that something can be done with these and make them look quite nice. Not quite sure when I'm going to do it, so for the moment these are just going to get boxed up and put in my garage or in my loft, because I've got plenty of other projects to do at the moment. So today's toy fair was actually a pretty good one. I was a little bit disappointed when I first got there, but by the time I'd finished having a look around, as you can see, I managed to pick up some really nice items. So I hope this video has been of interest to you, and thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching Toy Polloi. Subscribe for more great videos. You can also follow Toy Polloi on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.